Hello and welcome to the big picture. The issue of banning slaughter and sale of meat has been under discussion in this country now for some time. While the ban is certainly not a new occurrence, the controversy erupted after some civic bodies tried to ban the slaughter and sale of meat in Mumbai area for 8 days. Other states including Rajasthan, Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, apart from Maharashtra, have also banned for various number of days. In fact, even the Bangalore Corporation had banned sale and slaughter of meat yesterday on the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. The ban in Mumbai on the occasion of Jain festival of Paryushna was stayed by the Bombay High Court, and yesterday the Supreme Court refused to lift the stay. The Supreme Court, while refusing to interfere, stated that a ban cannot be forced down somebody's throat and that the spirit of tolerance was paramount. This controversy has raised many issues including fundamental rights, sensitivities of people to other religions' practices, and the state deciding what one should eat or not eat at different points of time, among many others. Today we will discuss in the context of the Supreme Court's observations whether this controversy will end and whether the final word has been said by the apex court. To discuss this, I have with me K.T.S.Tulsi, senior advocate in the Supreme Court and also a MP in the Rajya Sabha, Prof. Surinder Singh Jodhka, Center for the Study of Social Systems in the JNU, Sanjay Hegde, advocate Supreme Court, Abhay Chandalia, former president Terapanth Professional Forum, and on the phone line from Mumbai is Shaina NC, spokesperson of the BJP. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Tulsi, you think that the Supreme Court has said the last word on this issue?
Yeah, nothing is ever a last word. But it was a fairly strong indictment by them that you can't ram it down people's throats. You see, the thing is that, is this minimum governance? Maximum government, minimum government, maximum governance. Is this minimum government? You even want to determine the choice of food in a free country? The choice of food of the people depends on the gender, it depends on age, culture, environment. The government, instead of tackling food scarcity or food poverty, as well as food insecurity, is trying to determine the choice of food when the poor have no choice.
But
This is completely lopsided attitude.
No, Mr. Tulsi, I know, I agree with you that, but the problem is that this is not the first time this is happening. It has happened in the past. Previous governments have done it. Congress governments have done it. You know, then why is it that it has become such a big issue now?
It's a big issue now because we are more worried about first banning cause slaughter. When people are dying, do we know that in the Indian subcontinent, we have more than half the world's hungry live in our country. More than half of the world's hungry. Poverty is the biggest problem. That is the root cause.
No, but you're not answering my
tackle.
Sir, you're not answering my question.
Child labor.
No, Mr. Tulsi, you're not answering my question. The question was that
Yes.
this is not the first time it has happened. The previous governments have done it. But you know, we didn't have this kind of an uproar in the past, and why is there such an uproar now?
No, because whether it has happened, if two wrongs won't make a right. If it has happened before, at that time there was also equally an uproar. If it is happening now, the government is not saying because it happened before, therefore we are doing it. We want to follow the previous government. That's not the attitude of the government. Government says cow slaughter will be banned, beef will be banned,
Meat.
Now vegetarianism. Are we going to create a fascist state or what?
Okay.
There are 40 to 45 crore poor living in our country. There's no attention being paid.
No,
what
that is
kind of
not
priorities are these?
Okay, your issue of as far as priorities are concerned, we'll discuss that. Mr. Chandalia.
Yes, sir.
Now the Supreme Court has said that it will not interfere and it should not, saying something very strong, using strong words that you cannot push these things down the throats. You think that the Jain community will be will be happy. First of all, was this the demand of the Jain community?
Jain community demanded the selector house should be served for 8 days of during Paryushan. Paryushan is a period during that tenure we do chanting of mantras, we do meditation, we try to purify our soul. So during that period, if somebody is not eating meat, I don't die. So it can be done. The thing is, many people are living in India pure vegetarian and non-vegetarians are also there. In India, there are a lot of alternatives are also there. At the same time, the thought process of Mahavira was ahimsa.
So you want
Non-violence.
No, I know. You wanted this to be applied across the country?
If it is done, I think it will be the best.
For 8 days, no slaughter and sale of meat.
We request for 8 days. If the government thinks appropriate, then it may be reduced also.
No, what is this bargaining of number
No,
of
it's
days?
not bargaining actually. We request for 8 days because that is the period during that we can purify our soul. Every creature, every living creature has right to live. They have it is not only flesh and limbs which are part of their body. Every living being has a soul. Jain Dharma believe in purification of the soul and non-killing. Even Jain people don't even kill an ant.
Right. Okay. Professor Jodhka, how do you react to this?
There are several issues, I think.
Yes, I think we need to. Please raise all the issues.
Obviously, there is a question of diversities and how state should deal with it.
Right.
It's a very important question that countries like India have to confront it, and they should take it seriously, and it has been taken seriously. Our constitution also recognizes those diversities, the different kinds of acts, even though people think that this is very confusing. But I think people who made the constitution, designed the constitution, had all those questions in mind. A question of civil court and stuff like that. All those things have been, our notion of secularism is also equally different. So the diversity question is very, very important. And how do we deal with diversity? That is something which we have had some convention, and as you said that earlier governments have also tried to do that. So there are these strange kind of reactions. If some community gets mobilized, you try to appease them, but there is no clear perspective on this. Jains don't live only in India, and the Jains are not really the predominant community. Jains live all over the world, in different parts of the world, and Jains are not the only ones who have sensibilities or sensitivities about food, about consumption. Sikhs, for example, don't smoke. Right? We also have sensitivity about smoking. There are other communities who would have sensitivities about certain kind of food. I mean, Muslims will have sensitivity about some kind of food. So how does one state deal with it? I think all communities have their right to preserve whatever their traditions they want to practice within their own community, within their own families, at the most within their own localities. If somebody is violating that boundary, if somebody takes meat to a Jain temple, then I think state should intervene. Beyond that, I don't see how state can actually effectively intervene. But I think along with that, when we come to the question of food, there's also an economic aspect. Everybody cannot have the kind of choices.
We'll come to that aspect. Let me get Shaina in on this. Shaina, now that the Supreme... No, first of all, your government wanted to impose this restriction for 8 days. Then the bargaining began. Then they said no, 4 days, then 2 days. And now finally the Mumbai High Court stayed it, and now the Supreme Court also has refused to intervene. Now, doesn't it look as if it was also a kind of appeasement to a certain community that the government was indulging in?
First and foremost, please let me give you the facts the way it was.
Please give me.
In Meera Bhayandar, the municipal corporations have a provision which is given by the Supreme Court which says that if you choose to appeal vis-a-vis communities that have voted you in, you may do so. That is where this resolution was talked about first. In 1964, there was a resolution that was passed by the municipal corporations which suggested a 1-day meat ban. 1994, it went on to become a 2-day meat ban. Ironically, in 2004, you have a GR which was passed by the then Congress and NCP government.
Right.
It seems to be going unnoticed, and where people are just constantly... One moment. And then it was decided that during the month of Paryushan and during the festival of the Jains, this would be limited to slaughterhouses. there has been immense debate as to suggest why is it a meat ban, why is fish, egg excluded. This is a concept of religious tolerance vis-a-vis the slaughterhouses like those in Deonat, etc. The state government, contrary to public perception, has had no role at all to play with it. And I am appalled at how this entire question has risen as if to suggest that the BJP government has done something. What have we done? We have only adhered to a practice which was there since 2004, where it was a resolution and a GR which was passed by the then state government. The honorable courts, however...
It was for 4 days? Shaina, sorry.
Yes.
It was for the 2004 order... made it for 4 days. From 2 days, it was made to 4 days. And now your government wanted to make it for 8 days.
No, our government has nowhere talked about 8 days.
BJP.
Please note, this discussion and deliberation has happened in municipal corporations.
Right. Does the mayor of the municipal corporation belong to your party?
The one in Meera Bhayandar where the discussion was taking place, where there was a substantial population which belonged to the Jain community, yes, but however, it was not passed. This is what I'm saying. If you deliberate and discuss on an issue, does not give it the sanctity of saying that no, we have passed a resolution to suggest so. The Honorable Courts intervened, and whatever the decision of the Honorable Court has been the position of the state government. Nowhere have we contradicted it. Nowhere have we got into any kind of question mark vis-a-vis what the court suggests.
So you're fine now.
The fact
So
is
you're
that
fine
the
now with the
municipal corporations do have the right, as per the Supreme Court.
I don't know what right you're talking
deliberate.
about the Supreme Court. Let me get a lawyer in on this and to figure out what you're trying to say. Sanjay, what is this right which the Supreme Court has given to some municipal corporations? I have not heard.
No. What Shaina is probably referring to is a judgment of Justice Karju, who after retirement thinks that judgment was possibly wrong. Let's keep that aside. The position in law is this. The constitutional position is this: that there is the directive principle which says that you will look after cows and other draft and milch cattle.
Right.
Now you see, you have this as a recognition of the Hindu sentiment against cow slaughter.
Right.
Now,
It's also part of the directive
yes,
principle.
it's a directive principle. It is not strictly enforceable.
Right.
There's also a fundamental duty to have compassion for living creatures. Now that these two read together have been expanded to protect not only the cow but all kinds of animals. Now, if you have a total meat ban, it essentially means that you protect the chicken, the goat, the sheep, everything. No, that's not what the Constitution allows
beef,
you.
everything.
Every animal is a holy animal which thou shalt not kill. I'm sorry, the Constitution does not permit you to get into another's plate. After all, the saying goes that the Frenchman's right ends where the Englishman's nose begins.
Right.
So this is where, there has been fuzzy thinking on the part of governments where they say, okay, fine, somebody wants a ban, let's have a ban. Somebody wants it more, let's stretch out. Once the stretching out has gone too far, that's when the backlash has begun. If you take this to a logical extreme, that
Or an illogical extreme.
Or an illogical extreme, that you will appease every community, then let's say why not require every community to sacrifice goats during Bakri Eid? Or something like that.
All kinds of questions will come up.
So therefore the correct principle is, to you your religion, to me my religion.
Mr.
Religion is a private thing within the four corners of your house. Don't get it into the public
Mr.
sphere.
Chandalia, would you agree with that? Would you agree with this, that instead of imposing your religion, your religious practices on others, it's best that you observe it, all religions, all people of different religions observe their practices to themselves. Why impose it on others? One. Second thing is, in this case, for instance, the Maharashtra government argued in the High Court saying that fish we are not banning because fish is not slaughtered, it just comes out and dies. And so are the Jains comfortable with fish being allowed to be sold and eaten and not meat and chicken?
Sir, Jain philosophy of Mahavira believes in non-violence, and everybody has equal right to live in. If we don't slaughter during that period for 8 days,
nobody
they
is
can
stopping
live
you from
little bit, they will
I'm
live more.
sure
asking the
nobody is
Jains to
stopping you.
slaughter.
Yes.
So yeah. So if they are not being slaughtered in the slaughter house for 8 days, they can live little bit more. So that is the philosophy. And
live little bit more in the sense that
for
live longer.
at least
8
more days they can live. And second thing regarding the fish.
No, what are you trying to say? You're trying to say that every time a person eats meat, he is losing one day of his life expectancy. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm talking about the animal actually. I'm not talking about the individual. And second thing regarding fish and all, fishes are not being slaughtered. They are having limited life, and whenever they are catched by fishermen, and then they come to market and they don't live for a longer period. So slaughter
it's okay
can
to
be
eat
reduced. That can be, if it is possible, it's better. Otherwise, at least to that extent, if we can stop slaughtering during that period.
See, I
it
think
will
these are
be
not moral questions. I think to begin with, one has to frame the question differently.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a question of state versus community.
Absolutely.
And
State
again-
versus individual tastes and habits and rights. I have my morality. And unless, as you said, unless my morality judges you in a negative way and it affects your rights, you obviously have the reason to object to it. If my morality stays inside my house and I have my own way of living, how does it matter to you? We are a very, very diverse country of very different kinds of diversity, not just of religious diversity.
Sir,
Within
India-
Hinduism, there are rituals where goat has to be sacrificed. Don't blame it on other communities. Large proportion of Hindus have rituals. You go to Himachal Pradesh, I've done field work there, where goat sacrifice is very, very essential as a temple ritual.
in
Assam,
in all over the country.
Bihar,
In all over the country, yeah. So these
for
are
every
religious
Upanayam
rituals.
also,
Yeah.
there is a slaughter.
But
These are
in no
religious
granthas.
rituals.
No, Mr.
So this is equally justified as for Jains, not killing the cattle is justified.
No, completely,
for somebody
nobody-
else,
yes.
doing sacrifice is justified on religious grounds. Because that would take away the illness. That's very critical for them. So
But-
this is absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But the other person is also equally right.
Yes.
But in no religion, no granthas, it is mentioned that sacrifice of animal is good, and it should be done.
I'm sorry, but we have Bakri Eid coming. Bakri Eid commemorates the sacrifice of Abraham.
And if you talk about
No,
Hindu
not
granthas,
just Muslim religion.
So
even in
the rest are not granthas.
All
is it?
rituals.
The other religions are not granthas.
yes,
Anyway,
they are.
is that
anyway,
what we are saying?
Mr. Tulsi,
Even-
Mr. Tulsi, there's another legal problem here. When we have seen the Supreme Court, having different ways of interpreting these kind of things. In a 2008 judgment, it said something else.
Yes.
Now it is saying something else. So is this, why is this lack of clarity there even in the apex court?
You see, the Supreme Court
To answer that.
is right because it's final. It's not final because it's right. But it's final. At the moment, they have given a judgment. Now, the Supreme Court of India sits in benches, and the opinion of the judges who sit in a particular combination can be different. And
Is that all there is to it, sir?
it is the own understanding and the personality of the judge which influences the judgment. That is quite normal. After all, they are human beings. This going
If I
to
could
be.
just supplement.
But I want to say that human sacrifices
Yes.
are even now taking place. Today's newspaper talks about human sacrifices in Madurai. We are all right with human sacrifices, but we are against animal sacrifices. We are all right with promoting the health of the cow, but we don't need to bother about crores of children who are malnourished. Think
Okay.
about
Can I
it.
just
Why
supplement
can't
what
they get eggs?
Mr. Tulsi, can I just supplement you?
Okay, Mr. Tulsi, I think I got the
See-
point. Interesting points you made. Yes, Mr. Sanjay.
Here, what happened yesterday was just the Supreme Court declining at an interim stage. A two-judge bench said
Right.
that we will not. Now, this is only an order.
and they made an
But
observation.
These are observations which have been reported. But the law has been laid down wrongly, in my opinion, by a 7-judge judgment, way back in 2007, which created all this
2008
problem. Earlier, the constitutional consensus after Hanif Qureshi's judgment in the 60s was this, that cows were protected till they reached a certain age.
Right.
Bullocks and others could be slaughtered anytime.
Right.
This was supposed to this was after the intervention of Pandit Bhargava, who had assisted even the Constituent Assembly.
Right.
This was the position, and that held for about 4 decades. Then in 2007, a 7-judge judgment, which whose diet was largely vegetarian, seemed to think that, you know, extending the ban to all kinds of bovine creatures was a good idea.
You're right.
And therefore, from cow protection, we have gone on to bullocks and all kinds of animals. And now, from slaughter, we are going further to prevent people from eating meat. That is where the slippery slope has gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I was going through the list of states which, how do they legally deal with this issue? And we see so much diversity from state to state, how they have dealt with as far as legal issues are concerned. Andhra Pradesh says, you know, bulls and bullocks obtaining, you have to take a fit for slaughter certificate and then you can slaughter it. No cows. Arunachal Pradesh, every cattle, cows, bullocks, all kinds of things can be, you know, Assam, same, all cattle obtaining a fit. See, Arunachal, all cattle. Delhi, interestingly, you can slaughter a buffalo, you can't slaughter a cow. And
largely, cows are protected.
Haryana, you can't slaughter any of these bovine creatures. Haryana, Himachal, Jammu and Kashmir, no slaughter of any bovine creatures. So this kind of, you know, diversity which has been there. Shaina NC, now you think that you think that
minimum government.
Sorry, sir.
That is not minimum government.
This is not minimum government.
This is not. No, I mean, this is not just
What was
about this
promised was minimum
No, sir.
government.
This is
I'm
a
sorry. This is not
continuation.
just about this government. I'm talking about governments across the country. You know, with
No, but
different
this
political
government promised
parties.
minimum government.
Different political parties have been responsible for these different kinds of laws prevailing in different states. It is not just one political party.
This government promised minimum government.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, Shaina,
You see,
are you there?
Yes.
Okay, Shaina, my question to you is this. You think
Yes.
now that this Supreme Court has at least not interfered, the High Court is supposed to decide this case within the next 6 months. Is this controversy over as far as the Maharashtra government is concerned and the BJP is concerned? Or you think that, you know, this is something which will continue next year and something will come, or some other religious festival will come and we will see the same kind of thing reoccurring again?
As I said before, that the state government has no position, and we
No,
don't
but
choose
state
to have a judgment
state
on
government
everything.
took a position in the High Court.
The state
supported the
government has
It supported
adhered.
its ban.
It supported the
One
ban.
second.
The state
May
government
I
supported
please-
the ban
may I
and took a
please-
position in the High Court.
May I please clarify our statement in totality? First
Please.
and foremost,
Yes.
as elected representatives, if there are segments of society that come to us with appeals, clearly as elected representatives, it's the prerogative of the local corporator, MLA, etc., to bring it up if it is in the interest of the people who have voted them in, and that is a representation. Then deliberating discussion is part and parcel of any process to have a legislation passed in the House. However, in this particular case, the honorable courts have intervened and have had to say what they've had to say, and the state has adhered to it. I think that if you put a hypothetical question, why is it that this is a pattern in even non-BJP states? Why is it that there are people who feel of their religion, of a tolerance towards their community? I'd like to put it in that spirit.
Absolutely.
Because if we say that we are a diverse country and there is a secular spirit, I think it is absolutely a prerogative of each state to represent every community. It does not
so
amount to
appeasement
appeasement.
is fine with BJP.
But this is not.
Appeasement and
No,
vote bank
Mr.
politics, please, is
No,
completely
Shaina.
different.
This is
Shaina,
appeasement.
sorry.
I don't think we can confuse the two.
No, Shaina, you're saying that, you know, every community, but isn't this appeasement, you know, isn't this appeasement of a particular community?
If you view it in that sense, then please tell me the same municipal corporations that have provisions for the Feast of Valenka have budget allocated for particular communities.
budget is not
That
the
is
issue here.
One second. Even when it comes to their religious sentiment, one wants every segment of society to be represented. All I'm saying is in the larger interest, there will be a majority opinion, and that opinion is something which translates down in situations such as this. So rather than calling it a ban, if it's 2 days of a tolerance
so a
towards
majority-
the community,
Are you
I don't
talking
think
away-
that we should make such a hue and cry.
No, are you? So you're saying that the majority
Two
view
days
will
of
have to be
appeasement.
taken into consideration, whatever be the law. Is that what you're
I
trying
am
to say,
saying
Professor Jodhka?
public
I think there are other
sentiment.
problems also
I'm
with
saying
this. It's not
public
simply
sentiment
majoritarian
needs
view.
to be taken into consideration.
Public sentiments,
That's all I'm
okay,
saying.
sentiments
No,
need
no.
to be taken into consideration. That's a
Majority-
slippery
yeah,
slope
no,
again.
it's also otherwise problematic because you're also, in a sense, state is trying to produce a moral order.
Right.
And this moral order, because
And-
food is
and-
something that people think about. This moral order is not only about religious communities, it's also about caste, very strongly about caste. Within Hinduism, the upper castes, mostly the Brahmins and few other upper castes who don't eat, many upper castes also eat. 70 to 80% Hindus eat meat as part of their food culture.
Right.
So in the process, you're trying to say that this is the normal culture for people to follow. Everyone else is deviating from the normal culture. This has its own kind of political implications and cultural implications.
Absolutely.
Where people feel marginalized simply because their food is also seen as pollution of the society, or even the language that you use, pollution. Why does it become pollution? So for some people, for example, taking wine in the church could become kind of, is a religious sentiment.
Yeah.
Why should we take it as pollution? So that itself is a moral order which is being imposed on larger society, and let's not read it
And
only
now-
in
now
religious
what-
terms
what
or
sh-
community terms or
what-
majority terms or sentiment terms. This is a larger question of economy also related
Absolutely.
to it.
Sentiment. No, sentiment is a very...
just to supplement,
Yes.
just to supplement, Professor.
No,
Jodhka.
I want you
in
to...
Maharashtra itself.
No, I want you to, Hegde, also address the issue. She says that we have to take the sentiments of the majority into consideration. Or, can law work on sentiments?
Law does not work on
not
sentiments.
majority anyway.
Law has to be one law for all and something that is implementable. Now to say that I will get into each person's plate or each person's food chain to determine what is available to him or not is a huge slippery slope. I'll tell you what happens. Just recently we've seen that example in Kanpur where animals which were being transported, the driver of that vehicle almost got lynched.
Yes.
So we tend to then deify animals' rights and their living above the
human-
life of a human.
Mr. Chandalia, how do you react to
this
all
is not
these
ahimsa.
Sir,
No, aren't these things something which your community needs to take into consideration, even as everybody agrees that, your own sentiments, your community's sentiments, your practices, nobody should come in the way of it?
no, sir, we respect all the religion. That's what our Guru Acharya Sri Mahasramanji said. We should respect all the religion. At the same time, we should respect the apex court of the country also. But the thing is, we believe in changing the mind. So if we can stop selecting during that period, so it may affect the people's mind also. Why don't you become vegetarianism?
Okay.
People
Second
might
thing,
become
sir,
militant
sir,
non-vegetarians.
number one. Number two, if you remember it correctly, in Mughals times also, during this Paryushan, the meat selecting was banned.
I don't
Number
know.
one.
I
Number
don't
two.
know, Mr.
Yes,
We'll have
second
to
thing,
get
one more
historians
thing.
on that.
Even Akbar was not going for hunting
No,
during that
let us
period.
not go back so
Sir,
far
we-
in
yes,
time. We will. Sir,
yes, it is there.
we don't have time to go back so far in time. Mr. Tulsi, very quickly, last words to you. You think that no?
I want to say,
Yes, very quickly, sir.
I want to say that my right to swing my arm comes to an end where the nose of the other person
Absolutely.
begins.
Okay.
Every religion, each community, each section of society thinks that he is right, and he wants to convert the others. But you
Okay.
can't convert forcibly.
Absolutely.
Law
Okay,
is
sir.
kind of a force that is applied.
Okay.
This is not conducive to the ethos of a free country.
Okay, sir. I think on that note, we need to end. To each his own is what we have heard all along, and hope that this sentence is something which every community, every person will follow. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue on The Big Picture, same time on Monday. Meanwhile, have a great weekend.